Valve system reconditioning. Installation of valve springs, valve seals, and valves. Be sure to install each component in its original position. Parts such as valves, springs, retainers, and keepers that are not renewed should be mated with the same counterpart and be installed to the same location. When you use new valves, be sure that intake and exhaust valves have different head diameters. Springs also differ for intake and exhaust valves. Valve seals also differ for intake and exhaust valves. These types of springs have different colors. Intake valve seal has a white spring, and exhaust valve seal has a black spring. Apply a thin coat of engine oil to the valve stem first. And then insert the valve to the valve guide. Check that the valve smoothly moves up and down and that it also smoothly rotates. Install the spring seat prior to the guide seal installation. Install a new guide seal to the guide seal driver. Install the guide seal to the cylinder head. Install the guide seal properly. Install each part to the cylinder head. Install the valve spring and valve spring retainer to the cylinder head. A valve spring has a top and bottom. From the side of a spring where a coil is tightly wound, a spring should be installed to the cylinder head. Set the valve spring compressor and compress the valve spring. Install the valve keepers. Loosen the valve spring compressor with special care and remove it. Lightly tap the retainer part 2 or 3 times with the plastic hammer to ensure proper seating of the valve keepers. After tapping and seating all the valve retainers, visually inspect the whole part again for a final check. Camshaft inspection. Installation. In general, the installation procedure is in the reverse order of the removal procedure. Before installation, wash all parts and dry them. Be sure to renew the parts specified to replace, such as O-rings. Assemble the rocker arm assembly. Apply engine oil to the parts if necessary. Insert the camshaft holder bolts to position each set of rocker arms. Be sure to prevent oil from adhering to the mating surfaces of camshaft holders. Apply liquid gasket to the end cap and install it to the cylinder head. Apply grease to the camshaft and inside of the oil seal, and install the oil seal on the camshaft. Apply liquid gasket to the outside of the oil seal. Apply only to the spots where the face of the camshaft holder and cylinder head are meeting points. Install the camshaft to the cylinder head with the keyway facing up. Use liquid gasket for the mating surfaces of the camshaft holders of both ends. Please refer to the shop manual for the exact location of liquid gasket application. Mount the rocker arm assembly on the cylinder head and fit it into position. Make sure that each rocker arm is properly directed. Be careful not to push each valve stem by the rocker arms at a wrong position and angle. Apply engine oil to the threads of the camshaft holder bolts. Hand tighten the camshaft holder bolts. Tighten the bolts in the sequence specified in the shop manual. Tighten them to the specified tightening torque. When completing the installation of the components, adjust the valve clearance. First, install the timing belt. Set the number 1 cylinder at the TDC position. Check that the camshaft pulley is positioned at the TDC. Adjust each valve clearance. Please refer to the shop manual for the specified values. Refer also to module number 060111 for effective procedure. Cylinder head removal and installation. Installation. Install the cylinder head in the reverse order of removal. But be sure to check the procedure in the shop manual. Always replace the parts that are required to do so. Check the shape of the head gasket in detail. Handle the head gasket with special care, because the head gasket is vulnerable to deformation. A deformed head gasket may cause liquid leakages after assembling is completed. It's also important to handle the mating surfaces of the component, which are finely machined with special care. Avoid letting foreign substances adhere the component, as well as avoiding deforming or damaging the surfaces. These may also cause the future leakage of liquids. Before installing head bolts, clean them thoroughly and apply engine oil to the bolt threads and flanges. This ensures the precision of tightening. Therefore, be sure to avoid foreign substances engaging with bolts while applying oil to them. Please refer to the shop manual for the sequence of tightening bolts, because the proper sequence may differ depending on the material or shape of the components. On this model, tighten the bolts in the sequence of the steps as follows. First, tighten the bolts until they sit on the component. Then, tighten them lightly. Next, tighten the bolts with the torque wrench sequentially in 3 steps. First step torque is 20 Newton meter or 2 kilogram meter. Second step torque is 49 Newton meter or 5 kilogram meter. Final or third torque is 67 Newton meter or 6.8 kilogram meter. Always check with the shop manual.